Imagine a training pipeline that flows in every direction. Iran teaches Russian operators to fly Shahed drones in 2022. Russia refines the Shahed design in combat against Ukraine by 2023, then sends upgraded variants back to Iran by 2025. China secretly trains 200 Russian military personnel in drone warfare, electronic warfare, and battlefield engineering in late 2025, and those trainees are instructors, not recruits. Now Russia offers to train Iranian forces on Fiber-Optic drones in 2026, using the same knowledge China gave Russia, refined in the same war where Iran's original Shahed design was combat tested. Not in theory, not on paper. In a 10-page GRU proposal obtained by The Economist in a classified Russian-Chinese military agreement signed in Beijing on July 2, 2025, and in European intelligence assessments confirmed by Reuters on May 19, 2026. This isn't about drones crossing borders. This is about knowledge crossing borders. And knowledge is the one weapons transfer you cannot intercept, sanction, or destroy. Let me show you why the knowledge loop between China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea is the most consequential military development of 2026, and how it operates on a timeline the West's technology denial strategy was never designed to stop. Reuters reported on May 19th that European intelligence agencies confirmed China's armed forces secretly trained approximately 200 Russian military personnel in China in late 2025. The program was formalized under a classified Russian-Chinese military agreement signed by senior officers in Beijing on July 2, 2025. Training took place at Chinese military facilities in Beijing and Nanjing. The trainees were not conscripts. They were NCOs and officers ranging up to lieutenant colonel rank, instructors, not foot soldiers. Their disciplines included drones, electronic warfare, army engineering, and explosives. Some of those trainees have since returned to Russia and participated in combat operations in Ukraine. The Kremlin dismissed the Reuters report as false on May 21st. European intelligence stands by it. The distinction between training instructors versus training recruits is the critical difference. If China trained 200 Russian privates to fly drones, the impact would be 200 additional drone operators in Ukraine, tactically meaningful but strategically limited. But China trained instructors. Each of those 200 trainees can now teach dozens, potentially hundreds of additional Russian personnel using the knowledge they acquired in China. The cascading effect is not linear, it is exponential. One trained instructor produces 10 trained operators. 10 trained operators each train 10 more. The knowledge does not stay with the 200, it multiplies through them. The disciplines matter even more than the numbers. Drone warfare, electronic warfare, battlefield engineering, explosives. These are the 4 pillars of the Russia-Ukraine conflict's tactical evolution, the areas where combat experience has produced the most rapid innovation and the most lethal adaptation. China did not train Russian soldiers in tank tactics or strategic bombing. It trained them in the specific skill sets that define the current war's killing ground. And it trained them using Chinese military methodology, Chinese hardware familiarity, and Chinese operational doctrine, all of which differ from Russian practice in ways that broaden the knowledge base rather than duplicate it. But here's the strategic implication nobody is naming. This training pipeline doesn't end with Russia. It connects directly to Iran, and the connection is bi-directional. In 2022, when Russia first acquired Shahed 136 drones from Iran, Iranian instructors traveled to Russia to train Russian operators on Shahed deployment, maintenance, and operational tactics. Iran trained thousands of Russian personnel. Those Iranian-trained Russian operators then refined Shahed tactics in combat against Ukraine, developing new deployment patterns, adapting launch configurations, improving electronic countermeasures, and identifying design weaknesses. Russia took Iran's original Shahed 136 design and engineered improvements, decoy variants, upgraded guidance packages, modified warhead configurations. Western officials confirmed in March 2026 that Russia is now shipping Iran upgraded Shahed-type drones whose designs Moscow refined in Ukraine, adding decoy features and improved navigation systems derived from combat experience against Ukrainian air defense. The knowledge flowed from Iran to Russia, was refined in combat, and flowed back to Iran in improved form. Now the loop is closing again, but in a different direction and with a different origin. The Economist's May 7th report on the leaked GRU proposal reveals Russia offering Iran 5,000 fiber-optic drones plus training infrastructure. The fiber-optic drone technology was not developed by Iran. It was developed by Russia, combat tested in Ukraine, and now offered to Iran specifically for use against American forces in the Gulf. The training element of the proposal calls for recruiting from Iran's 10,000 students studying in Russian universities, creating a pipeline that feeds Iranian personnel into Russian military training infrastructure, then returns them to Iran as qualified fiber-optic drone operators. Iran originally taught Russia to fly Shaheds. Russia now offers to teach Iran to fly fiber-optic drones. The knowledge has circled the entire axis, and China sits at the center of the loop. China trained Russian drone and EW instructors in 2025. Those instructors carry Chinese knowledge into Russian combat operations. Russian combat operations refine that knowledge against Ukrainian and Western systems. The refined knowledge then transfers to Iran through the GRU proposal. Iran applies it against American and Israeli forces. American and Israeli combat responses generate new adaptation data. That data flows back through the axis, observed by Russian intelligence, assessed by Chinese analysts, incorporated into the next training cycle. Each rotation of the loop produces deadlier operators, more refined tactics, and faster adaptation cycles than the last. The ISW and Critical Threats Project confirmed on May 9th that Russia is actively supporting Iranian military reconstitution during the ceasefire period. Russia is sending drone components to Iran via the Caspian Sea, using the same route the IDF struck at Bandar Anzali port during the war to disrupt Shahed shipments. Russia and the People's Republic of China both provided Iran with satellite imagery of US and allied military facilities during the war. The US State Department sanctioned 4 Chinese entities on May 8, including EarthEye and Changguan Satellite Technology, for supplying Iran with satellite imagery used to target American forces. Iran used an EarthEye TEE-01B reconnaissance satellite acquired from the PRC in 2024 to target US military assets across the Middle East during the war. PRC also supplied sodium perchlorate to Iran after the June 2025 Israel-Iran conflict, a chemical precursor for solid missile propellant that directly enables Iran's ballistic missile reconstitution. This is not a supply chain. It is a knowledge acceleration engine, and it operates on a fundamentally different timeline than the West's technology denial strategy. The US approach to constraining adversary military capability operates through export controls, sanctions, and interdiction. These tools target hardware, semiconductor chips, missile components, drone assemblies, dual-use materials. The assumption is that if you prevent the adversary from acquiring the physical tools, you prevent them from acquiring the capability. That assumption works for hardware. It fails for knowledge. You can sanction a Shahed shipment. You can interdict drone components at Bandar Anzali. You can restrict semiconductor exports to Russia and Iran. You cannot sanction a Russian NCO who spent 3 months at a Chinese military facility in Nanjing learning drone warfare doctrine. You cannot interdict the combat experience that instructor gained in Kursk and Pokrovsk. You cannot restrict the transfer of that experience to an Iranian operator being trained on fiber-optic drones in a Russian facility. Knowledge transfers happen between humans, in training facilities, on exercise ranges, in combat zones. They do not cross borders in shipping containers. They do not appear on customs manifests. They do not trigger sanctions triggers. They are invisible to the entire architecture of technology denial, because that architecture was built to stop things, not ideas. The Economist defense editor Shashank Joshi put it precisely on the May 8th Intelligence podcast. What this shows is that many of the most significant transfers that we may see between these countries will be not in terms of big defense platforms or in the realm of ships, submarines, planes. It will be in the realms of lessons they have learned from their respective conflicts. Russia in Ukraine, Iran in the Middle East, North Korea from its involvement in Kursk in Russia, and those lessons will flow between them. North Korea completes the four-way architecture. North Korean forces participated in combat operations in Russia's Kursk region, gaining direct battlefield experience against Western-trained Ukrainian forces using Western-supplied weapon systems. That experience flows back to Pyongyang, then potentially to Iran through the same knowledge-sharing channels. Each participant in the loop brings a different combat dataset. Russia brings Ukraine war refinement against NATO-supplied systems. Iran brings Middle East war experience against US and Israeli platforms. China brings doctrinal breadth and hardware familiarity from its own military tradition. North Korea brings exposure to Western tactical patterns in Kursk. None of these datasets exists in isolation. They combine, they cross-reference, they produce adaptation that no single participant could generate alone. This is why the GRU proposal is more consequential than the 5,000 drones it offers. The drones can be destroyed, the operators can be killed, the training facilities can be struck. But the knowledge that passes through the training pipeline, the specific combat refinements, the EW defeat techniques, the fiber-optic deployment patterns developed against Ukrainian positions, the Shahed improvement specs derived from 3 years of combat data, that knowledge has already left the building. It resides in the heads of 200 Chinese-trained Russian instructors, in the combat records of Russian drone units in Ukraine, in the operational experience of Iranian Shahed operators who trained Russians in 2022, and in the GRU's own institutional memory. You cannot destroy institutional memory with a tomahawk. You cannot sanction it. You cannot intercept it at a port. Industrial capacity isn't a statistic, it's a weapon. And the most powerful weapon in the four-way knowledge loop isn't the Shahed 136 or the fiber-optic drone. It's the combat experience that improves both, and the training pipeline that distributes that improvement faster than the West can build countermeasures against it. If you were the Pentagon's technology denial strategist, would you continue investing in hardware sanctions and export controls that cannot stop knowledge transfer? Or would you pivot to counter-knowledge operations that target the training pipeline itself? Type deny or disrupt in the comments. There's no right answer, and that tension is exactly what the attrition calculus demands when the threat isn't hardware, it's experience. This is DIB Dispatch, where billion-dollar projects meet battlefield reality.